was awesome.
That was awesome.
You guys are awesome.
No, you're awesome.
No, you are awesome.
Sir, you are awesome. Seriously.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Welcome to this week's edition of Everything is Awesome. I'm your host, Kev, and this is a show where we sit down and talk to awesome people about awesome things. And we are so close to the 10th anniversary of Everything is Awesome. February 1st is the 10th anniversary, and I believe the 4th, I don't have a calendar in front of me, that Wednesday. So after our 10-year anniversary, just by a couple days, the show will actually air. That means we got this episode and one more before we get to it. And man, I am so excited to actually be hitting this milestone. Our episode count doesn't show it, right? Like it's not, we don't have the episode count to back up 10 years. That's because we took a lot of time off over the years because of my mental state, right? That being said, something I learned while trying to get that under control, using medicine at first and whatnot, is that being creative really helps me the most. And so I've been pretty good about that since we started airing episodes regularly again. As we explained in the show notes for last week's episode, the 2026 look ahead, my kid broke his collarbone. So we were a little late in putting that out, which meant I'm pushing this back a little bit. So you're not getting this on Wednesday either. Regardless, here we are. Episode, I believe, 205 is what we're on. And today's guest is someone that I've been wanting to talk to on the show for a long time. He has been part of my Fan Expo panels for the last 2 years in 2024 and 2025. Will likely be part of them for 2026. I love sitting down and chatting with Craig Liggeons. I think I nailed it that time. He is a Philadelphia, personality. You know the man if you've seen him. If you've seen him at Comic-Con, you've seen him around town. He's not one to shy away from how he dresses. You'll see it in the video the video version of this podcast. He dressed to the nines. I think I was wearing maybe a hoodie. I forget what I was wearing. Very similar to what I'm wearing now if you're watching the video in this intro right here. We talk about comic books. We talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and Philly sports. And we talk about why the X-Men are important to a whole generation of fans. We talk about so much. We talk about Comic Book Gurus, his podcast that you can find on YouTube. I enjoyed every moment of this conversation. I enjoy that doing these creative things and doing these, shows or projects, creative projects here in the city of Philadelphia, get me connected to people like Craig. He's just an honor to have on the show and an honor to call a friend. And I'm glad that I'm able to count on him for things when they pop up. He rarely says no, if ever, with me at least. So without further ado, let's get to it. This is going to be one of the last pre-intros I do. Spoilers for the 10-year anniversary show. The big changes we're doing are video. I'm sampling it here in the last 2 episodes of the 9th year. And we're also going to get rid of the pre-intros and do intros live with our guests, which, oh boy, I did the 10-year anniversary show already, and I feel like I may have flubbed it a little bit. I need to get better at it. But that being said, I'll be back on the other end to wrap things up, but let's not waste any more time. Let's get to Craig right here on Everything is Awesome, only on awesomepodcast.com. And it will probably be very soon because as I look to your left, maybe it's your right and my left. I see the Hurts jersey is what I'm trying to say here. Yeah. And man, let's kick it off with that.
Okay.
How are you feeling as a fellow Philadelphian right now when it comes to sports, specifically our Eagles?
Specifically our Eagles. Well, we had the worst weekend in recent sports history over this past weekend because it started with the Flyers getting destroyed by Tampa Bay 7-2. I thought that was a baseball score. And then our Eagles, and I said, okay, well, let me switch over to the Sixers Toronto game because they had been leading that game. And then they lost in the final seconds because they couldn't complete an inbound pass, which is what we're told the first thing they teach you in junior varsity basketball is how to get open on an inbounds pass. So
You know way more about basketball than I do because I don't follow the sport at all.
that's okay. So it was as frustrating as watching a 4th and 11 play go with 3 verticals when a 10-yard hitch would have gotten us a first down anyway. Honestly, Kevin, as severely disgusted and disappointed I was with the loss, I was so happy that the season was over because I couldn't take another game not knowing how the offense was going to look and keeping my fingers crossed every week. Well, this is going to be the week that we turn it all around. This will be the week when we look like the week 4, the week 8 Giants game where we just, we had 200-yard rushers and everything. But I've never been so optimistic about a loss because I know if we lost, we were one and done, and we lost our first home game ever in the history of the Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts era. That means there were going to be some immediate changes.
Yeah. So it took me a day or two to get on board with like, okay, this is an acceptable loss. and not like didn't want to go to Chicago because they would have trampled us, I think. And you're absolutely the immediate, I am incredibly shocked of the news of Patullo being fired on what was that Monday or Tuesday, right?
It was yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. I thought for sure they wait a week, so I'm surprised pleasantly about that. So yeah, it's just another year. It wasn't quite as bad as 2022 when we had
and 2022 to me wasn't bad because we got there. We got to and we were right there with that Super Bowl. And the thing is, it was a bitter loss, but I feel like I don't think we were playing with house money, but we really were that good that year. So it was just that year was
2022. I think hurt a lot because that was the year that so let me I'm gonna so for the Eagles it was actually 2023, but for the Phillies and the Union, it was 2022.
Yes.
Lost the championship the same night.
Yeah.
And then, the what happened with the Birds in 2023 there or in the Super Bowl there. Overall, just a bad, like that was, I think, maybe one of the most heartbreaking years. And I remember like when the Phillies, like no one in my family cared about the Union, right? It was just me. But then later that night when the Phillies lost, like I look at my kid, my oldest, and I go, this is what it is. This is what being a Phillies fan and a Philadelphia sports fan is all about, buddy. Disappointment, sweet, sweet disappointment.
Well, I have to. Well, see, your kid is very fortunate because he's growing up in the best time of Philly sports, so he got to know disappointment early. But okay, when I was your son's age, we had absolutely nothing to look forward to. So when all 4 of our teams were historically bad year after year after year, your son is living in a wonderful time where
they are spoiled.
Exactly. And they've seen a parade. And they know how good the Phillies can be. They know the general enthusiasm and love for Red October and the towels waving and all of that. So, and I guess it's a typical Philadelphia or Philly sports reaction to what happened to us. But it's like it's the goldfish memory. It's like, guys, we won a Super Bowl last year. We trounced the best team, the best quarterback on earth, and left no doubt that we were undisputed champions. this all this doom and gloom. See, nothing good ever happens to us. We've had good. We've had nothing but good. Okay, this is nothing.
I not that the Eagles, I think, are in a dynasty right now, but for Philadelphia, I mean, this is Philadelphia's dynasty because we've never had it so good in sports over the last 5 years. I would even go back to maybe 7-8 years with that first Super Bowl. Like it's been, it's just been an era of Philly sports, specifically in football, and baseball has been there for a majority of that time. Yeah, just like wow, like it's the fact that like at least 2 of our teams are like making it there, and maybe two championships out of that, and falling short almost every other year is frustrating, but cloud 9 for these kids. You don't even know.
Exactly. And it's like you guys don't want to sound like Giants fans or worse Cowboys fans who don't know anything about winning, who have had whole entire generations and lifetimes without ever knowing a parade. So we're living in we're spoiled. So spoiled that even when we have a year like we just had, and we're still acting like we went 0-17.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I'm just as guilty to be like doom and gloom when things aren't going. Like all season, I was like, I would say halfway through the season, I was like, okay, there's a very good chance that this team's one and done, and then I got it in my head that they're just holding back.
Yeah,
like that's obviously what they're doing.
They're gonna flip it on. Yeah.
And a piece of me thought that was true literally going into Sunday's game. I really thought that Jalen would have more than one designed run play. I really thought he'd turn on the run game. And man, I mean, listen, that's literally a whole nother podcast is complaining about the Philadelphia Eagles and their missteps this year.
But I again, it hurt, but I was so happy that the season was over, so I don't have to speculate and have so much anxiety. When it hit me, Kevin, was the Cowboys game when we I think okay, this ain't us. This is definitely this ain't us. This ain't our year.
Yeah, it's wild. It's just wild because of all that talent,
Yeah, and coming back, we brought back the exact same team. That which is almost impossible in this era of free agency in the NFL to bring back. The only person that didn't come back from last year was Mekhi Becton of our starters and our offensive line. We have the exact same team. We don't blow leads, especially not like that. And I think, I was like, well, this ain't us. This is definitely not us. So reset, retool, and I'm excited for the offseason.
And right now it's in a hibernation state, we'll say, but there's a sports podcast that we do called Get 'Em Next Year. Yeah. And which was part of the panel that you and I we did at Fan Expo this past year. And I'm sure I went over this in the intro, but for those of you that skipped past that, because sometimes I get a little chatty by myself, we have Craig Liggeons. Did I get that right this time?
It's Liggeons, but it's okay.
Liggeons! My God.
I get it wrong all the time. It's fine.
I literally have been saying it every day talking to my buddy Mike. Yeah, like Craig, and I was like, I'm going to practice that name. I'm going to practice, and I messed it up. God damn it.
Okay, you're a sports guy, so a letter it rhymes with Le Mans, just like the race car.
I had a past guest, soon to be future guest again. Their last name is Spivey, and the way they taught me to say that is it's like Spidey, but Spivey. I was like, oh, you relate that to comic books? I'm in, buddy. So. But yeah, Craig has been so cool to do panels that I've put on at Fan Expo for the last 2 years. Hopefully, again this year. That's how we connected, and it's wild. I've had you and a couple other guests that have been like part of these other projects, and a lot of times it's the opposite. Like you guys are guests on the show first, and then you kind of get like brought into the circle of like, hey, I got this cool project I'm doing. You want to be part of it? So it's been nice like connecting with people like you and some other folks like in other projects. And then because when we sit down to have this conversation, normally I don't know anything about you. And so it's like it's just a nice flip on the dynamic. And you're actually the second to last episode in our 9th year as the podcast.
Wow. I'm the penultimate. I like that.
Yes. Episode, I forget the episode number, but this drops 2 weeks before February 1st, which is the 10-year anniversary of this show.
Wow.
So it's another weird thing is like in my head, I know that like the show is taking a slightly different direction and how we produce it. And this is like, man, this is like the end of we haven't done this like where we just jump into the show for the full 10 years. Like I've gone back and forth between different formats, but this has been the majority of it. For the majority of the 10 years, it's been this. So it's kind of weird, like kind of like wrapping up an era of everything is awesome.
It is awesome, man. Congratulations on 10 years, man. Really.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Amazing.
So Craig, officially, thank you for being part of Everything is Awesome here today. I am recording video today. This is because we're testing that out for the 10 year. That's going to be one of our additions to 10 years is doing video podcasts. So we're testing that. This is literally, Craig, you are the first to be on video officially and testing that theory out. So
well, I'm glad to be the first, and I'm glad I dressed up for it. I want to look good on video.
Obviously, if first of all, if you're not watching the show on YouTube or wherever I have it posted, got to check it out. And the official video link will also be in the show notes, because if you have not had the pleasure of seeing Craig in person at like some sort of official event that he's doing, whether that's a live podcast, whether that's, sometimes you're dressed up, I think in your video podcast, but guys, comic book suit to the tens here. I love it. And I haven't seen it looks like it's DC themed.
This is my DC. I think you've seen my Marvel comic book suit before, but this is my DC comic book suit. So I go both ways, folks, just so you know. I'm in the interest of equal time. I also have a DC suit, and this is it.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny that, and I'm actually interested on your thoughts about this, because it feels like we're in this era of we're about 20 years into the MCU, which is like over that 21 years into the MCU. Almost.
Yeah. Well, we're starting in 2008 with the MCU, but if we're starting with Marvel movies in general, we're 26 years in, because if you want to start with the X-Men in 2000.
Well, and I guess technically you can now, right? Because they're now grouped in.
Yeah.
Why do I think it was 2005 that Iron Man came out? You're right. It was absolutely 2008. Yeah. So we're not quite 20 years, but we're almost there.
We're getting there. It is.
Right. But Marvel, I feel like for the longest time, when you looked at movies and TV, you had Marvel like crushing it in movies, and DC, I feel, flopping.
Yeah.
And but great on TV.
Yes.
And at least in the world of film, it almost seems like we're in this era where they might be evening out, if not switching spots. Like DC under James Gunn, I don't know how you feel about Superman. I loved it, and I feel like it's going in a great direction.
I did too. I really liked it. I didn't love Superman, but I thought if you're going to start a clean slate, brand new Superman in the James Gunn universe, this was perfect. It introduced the character. We didn't have to go, through the origin story, all that. We just picked right up. 3 months in, he's been Superman and Metropolis. Great effects. What James Gunn is so good at from all of his Marvel training is how to shoot a really large cast and give everyone the appropriate amount of time. The Mr. Terrific scene was absolutely breathtaking, stunning. That was probably my favorite scene of any superhero movie. Maybe one of my favorite scenes in 2025 altogether. But great start, and to have it tie in, with the other DC, with Peacemaker and the upcoming Lanterns. I think having DC just have one linear path as opposed to Marvel's multiverse, jumping back and forth. I think DC is going to have a great year, maybe even better year than Marvel this year, 2026.
Which is crazy to think about because I think officially on DC's slate is what, Supergirl and maybe Clayface?
Maybe Clayface at the end of 2026. That might get bumped back, but right now DC only has one movie coming out, Supergirl, and they have their series Lanterns coming out next month, which I think would be a huge hit on HBO.
I'm very excited to see. I mean, and Lanterns, obviously it's changed shape over the years, but I mean that dates back to Berlanti, right? Like that's is he still involved with that at all, or is he officially maybe by name only?
And by name only. Well, the Lanterns concept was first started at the end of Arrow. When John Diggle's character, we found out his middle name was Stuart, and he found the lantern at the end on the last Arrow episode. So that's where the Lanterns seed kind of was planted back then. But now that James Gunn has gotten a part of it, and the Lantern, and of course Guy Gardner, played by the great
Nathan Fillion.
Yes, damn it. Sorry.
That's all right.
We'll edit this out. But he's going to be a big part of Lanterns and going forward, which will tie into Superman. Yeah, I think Lanterns is going to be the linchpin that really sets DC apart from Marvel in this year.
I'm excited for that, and it's weird to think about DC potentially having the better year when you have Spider-Man on the docket and Doomsday. Listen, so excited for it, but feels incredibly rushed to get there. They're
Marvel only has 2 movies coming out this year, which we hope will be connected. But the hard part is Spider-Man Brand New Day, and the trailer is it'll drop. Well, it's already dropped by the time you guys are seeing this. But it's going to be a street level Spider-Man. No otherworldly stuff. It's going to be a Spider-Man like right from the comic books. All these street level problems and villains that they've announced already. Tombstone, Scorpion, Mark Ruffalo is making an appearance in this. But what Hulk are we going to get in this one? And they may be introduced, and we still don't know what character Sadie Sink is playing.
Surprised that hasn't gotten out yet.
Yeah, and the thing is, Kevin, I don't want to know. I want to be surprised when I see it on the big screen. I've heard everything from she's going to be Rachel Summers to we have an MJ in this universe, but we don't have a Mary Jane Watson. So she could be a Mary Jane Watson. But also,
I remember there was an early rumor where she might be Tobey Maguire's kid from the other universe.
Oh, she could be Mayday. She could be
I think they shot that. I think that rumor's been shot down, but I remember that was early rumor, and I was like, listen, I love Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. But let's put the multiverse.
Let's pump the brakes on that on the multiverse. And we only mentioned Spider-Man and Doomsday as far as movies go, but on the Disney Plus side, you've got Daredevil Born Again season 2. You've got a Punisher special coming out. We've got Wonder Man coming out in a month. I mean, those are going to be huge, as well.
Yeah. And it's I mean, listen, to me, the biggest disappointing aspect of Wonder Man is that it's not Nathan Fillion, like the tease we got in one of the Guardians movies. But I get it. I'm That I actually, so like I'm so behind on like the Disney Plus side of things, simply because like I was in a creator mode for a big part of the year. So I
get it.
roller coaster between like, am I a content consumer or a content creator? And it's a hard balance. It's a hard balance.
Of course.
So I've fallen behind on some of the Disney Plus side of things, but like Wonder Man, my buddy told me like the synopsis for it. I was like, oh, I'm really intrigued. Like that one, like, and I feel like they're starting to get to a point where maybe it's not like, all right, you have to do all this homework to watch something. Like Wonder Man should be pretty standalone, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think that's that turned a lot of hardcore Marvel fans off because, well, they're having a new series. Well, did you see this movie? Because this movie ties into this, and if you haven't seen this, well, go see this first and then watch, this movie. Movie shouldn't require homework. I think Wonder Man is going to have like a standalone feel, kind of like how She-Hulk did. Just a feel good story that may or may not, push forward in the MCU.
I really, and you may have talked about this at one of the fan expos over the couple years, but man, that She-Hulk show, I really enjoyed it. I really dug it.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
It was so incredibly fun.
It was great fun. It was just like the comic book. If you ever read a She-Hulk comic book, the series was exactly like that, breaking the fourth wall, making fun of herself. I have a lot of fans that didn't like how they portrayed Daredevil because he lost his edge and Matt Murdock. It's like, you guys don't know Matt Murdock. He's a superhero who likes to have sex. You understand?
Yeah.
If you ever read a Daredevil comic book, Matt Murdock puts it down. He likes to get his. So that
was such a fun scene. I mean,
yes.
and I think one of the disappointing things that we're not going to get because of, whether it's the actress not wanting to do it anymore or that Marvel not wanting to move forward with that version of the character. Like, I would love to see Deadpool and She-Hulk.
Oh yeah,
like that would have been a fun cameo in that show too.
They had the two fourth wall breakers. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. You have the two best fourth wall breakers in the MCU. Going at it, it would be classic. And you just let those two go. You don't even have to write anything. It would just be it
is something that, like I said, I'm going to be really disappointed that we probably won't end up seeing anytime soon, especially with like, it feels like Marvel's, like this version of Marvel with over the next couple of years is probably coming to some sort of end. With Secret Wars.
With Secret Wars, we'll probably see the end of the MCU that we know, because what I've heard on good authority and what's going forward is after Secret Wars, we're going to get into, it's going to be the start of the X-Men, the Mutant Saga. So that's the direction we're heading. So the X-Men will pretty much replace the Avengers as the superheroes in the MCU going forward. So all the ones that we've come to know and love, the original Avengers, Iron Man, Cap, Hawkeye, they're all gone, but there'll be different versions of them. There's still a younger Avengers movie that could be on the table because we've got a new Hawkeye, we have a new Black Widow, we have Cassie Lang. We saw her in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and so there's plenty of meat left on that bone. But after Secret Wars, yes, the old heroes we knew will be no more.
And I don't know how you feel, because I feel like, for us, I feel like X-Men, right? Like that was really, in the world of movies, like our real first taste of like a serious comic book movie that like the audience outside of us enjoyed. And
Kevin, I had at least 3 people that say their favorite movie of all time was X-Men, and they never picked up a comic book in their life, because that was such a groundbreaking achievement.
It was such a special movie. I mean, that movie is one of a handful in my 40 plus years of life that I've seen multiple times in the theater. It is the only one that I've seen a minimum of 10 times in the theater. I've never seen a movie more into double digits except for that one. I was, I believe, 16 when that movie came out. I remember riding my bike, me and my buddies, we would ride our bikes from where we lived. Why our parents let us ride up major roads to the mall, I have no idea.
It's a different time, kids.
Yeah, it's crazy. The year 2000 was a different time. Not the 80s, the year 2000. You were able to ride your bike.
Yep, no cell phones, no accountability, just bye, kids.
But I saw that movie so many times. There's a reason my on my calf I have Wolverine tattooed there, and eventually I do want to add his probably my favorite line from any of his appearances over the course of the last 26 years is from that first movie. Does it hurt every time? I want to add that to the tattoo because it's a fun little nod to it. And but those movies, like when Days of Future Past came out, and I'm not like the new that first class was great. Yeah. But that new era of X-Men, like I liked it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my X-Men. And when that came out, I was like, oh, this is my Avengers moment. Like the Avengers movie that everyone loved and like lined up for because they were building like this is that for me. And we're getting it again to a degree with Doomsday here. And I almost feel like this could be one of those Marvel movies that pluck all the heartstrings, especially for fans like us that have gone back to these X-Men movies, because to your point, if the next saga is the mutant saga, it ain't going to be with the Patrick Stewart.
It ain't going to be your daddy's X-Men.
Right. So like it feels like we're going to get the definitive end after 26 plus years of these X-Men characters. And there's something that's like weird. I think I'm going to be overly emotional about that because those movies meant so much to me as a 16-year-old kid. How do you feel about the end of these X-Men characters as we know them?
Sad. You know, I was significantly older when X-Men came out, and I was just as overjoyed and excited as you were to see, you know, the mainstream, you know, acceptance of it, because this was after Blade. This was the first Marvel movie that was a big hit, and it was a huge hit. And if not for the success of X-Men, we wouldn't have gotten Spider-Man, the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 years later. It made Hugh Jackman a star. It, you know, reignited the careers of Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, and it just made comic book movies acceptable. And it's been an incredible run for 26 years. So for it to end, I think it's what better way to go out than with Doomsday, where they're bringing everyone back. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and James Marsden and the original cast. It's what Marvel has marketing geniuses have done though, Kevin. They're going to distribute reopen Avengers Endgame a month before Doomsday. So I guess it's to get everyone primed and ready and get your tissues out and your crying gears in order. So Endgame is going to come out a month before. It's going to come out again in theaters a month before Doomsday to get us ready for the final push for the final time we're going to see these guys on screen. Yeah,
it is bittersweet, and I hope what it leads to is, you know, not only a reset for Marvel in the sense of like, let's just like kind of change the characters up and get new actors, get fresh blood, but also like they and I generally love all of it, like to different degrees. There's very few of these projects that I'm like, oh, that's just bad. There's maybe a couple, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, I enjoy it all, even if it is quote unquote bad, because like there was a time where we had none of this. So,
exactly. And we had to wait years before we saw another comic book movie between between X-Men, and then we had Spider-Man, and that was it. And then we had to wait. When was the next X-Men? When's the next Spider-Man?
Yeah.
And with these movies that we had, and we've gotten so spoiled over the last 18 years, Kevin. It's like even when, and we were so used to great, they're coming out right away. They're great. Captain America, great. The Avengers, great. Winter Soldier, great. One after the other. So when a movie is just good, it's like, well, that scene is bad because the bar has been raised so far up there. Like, that's how I thought about Thor Dark World. It's like, because I'm so used to it being up here, and it was just But then I have to remind myself, as a huge comic book fan, that just having this movie made it all is the achievement. I said that about Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds, which I like, and I still like. But the fact that he likes to crap all over it. But the fact that there's a Green Lantern movie in my lifetime, it's something I thought I would never see on the big. I never thought I'd see an X-Men movie on the big screen. So all of this has been a gift. So I'm not going to crap on a movie that a superhero movie that the Eternals was It's an Eternals movie. That's that movie I never thought I would see in my lifetime, and I'm very old.
Yeah, it's I tend to lean the same way. Again, the projects that that don't hit me the right way, it's like, all right, well, I don't have to go back and watch that. Like, I watched it once, and it's there. If I want to, I will. And but it's nice. I think there's obviously a dip of quality, I think, to some degree, because they were just doing so much, and obviously like the whole Kang and Jonathan Majors issue.
That if not for Jonathan Majors' legal issues, I don't think we would have ever seen Robert Downey Jr. come back, because Kang was the big bad going forward, and the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is what was setting up this. It was supposed to be this was supposed to be the Kang Dynasty coming out in December.
Yeah.
So had it not been for Jonathan Majors' legal issues, we wouldn't have Robert Downey Jr. coming back, which is a blessing in disguise. Because for Robert Downey Jr. to come back, and the Russo brothers to have him back, and the Russo brothers to come back to direct this, the script had to have been awesome for him to say yes, because he didn't need to do Iron Man. He just won an Oscar. He damn sure doesn't need the money. So for him to come back, this script must have been something incredibly enticing, incredibly good.
And that's like because I know a lot of people, are maybe skeptical of what this could be. I to a degree I am, even because I do feel like, Thanos felt like a big bad because we built up to it over the course of 10 years or whatever.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Doom's not getting that build up. So it's from a storytelling perspective is where I'm like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about this. Yeah. But seeing and knowing the situation, I knew what it took to get the Russos back. It took Secret Wars to get them back. Right. I knew what it took to get RDJ back. It took the Russo brothers and a good script. Mm-hmm. So all right, I got to have faith in the fact that those three people, the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr., there's a reason they came together for this. Yeah. And it's not for that. I mean, sure, part of it's probably for that truckload of money that got backed up into their driveway. I'm sure that's part of it. But I also like to your point, they don't need it. I'm hoping that there is some integrity there, and that's we're doing this because it's good.
My only trepidation is how, you just pointed an excellent point. We saw Thanos coming from the beginning of the end, from the end of the Avengers. We saw Thanos and all these little Easter eggs coming on the breadcrumbs, so you knew Thanos was coming. We have no idea, outside of the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four, we have no idea who this Doom is, what the big deal is, why is this? So my thing is, and I don't think we're going to get it in Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is the only other Marvel movie we have this year. There's going to be a lot of exposition to explain why we should fear Doom, who is Dr. Doom. And And what most fans want to know, why does he look like Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah.
Why does he look like Tony
Yeah.
Stark?
Yeah. I very curious how they go with that. If it's going to be a, comic book from the source material, if there's something linked to that, or if it's something new and original. It is. Listen, I went through, we just did the week before this episode drops. We just released our 2026 look ahead, and which is I do a top 10 movies I'm looking forward to. Doomsday did hit number 2. Okay. And it did beat out Supergirl, because I am excited for listen, that X-Men trailer got me hyped. Like that is going back to what I said earlier. You bring them back and I'm in. The only thing that beat out Doomsday is Scream 7. I'm such a Scream fanboy. such a Scream fanboy. I'm excited. But yeah, Doomsday, I think there's a reason it's my number 2, and I think it's because it's going to be good regardless of the lack of knowledge we have about why we should be afraid of Doom coming. And I have faith that now it might be because it's a long movie.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of exposition to find that to get to where we are, and especially if we're going to be multiverse hopping, and you have X-Men from past and present, and and Steve Rogers and Fantastic Four and the Wakandans.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot to explain, a lot to unpack, as they say.
Now, obviously, people watching this can also see behind you. You are a wealth of knowledge when it comes to comic books, and that just comes from you being a big fan. But you also host a podcast about comic books called Comic Book Gurus.
That is correct. Yes.
So. I want to dive a little bit after 37 minutes of us chatting about nothing. I want to dive a little bit into because I know you did some work with MMR, or maybe you still do, but like did some MMR stuff, correct?
Yeah, I still do. Comic Book Gurus is the brainchild of Steve Morrison from Preston and Steve. If you're listening to this in Philadelphia, the Preston and Steve show is the #1 morning radio show in Philly, and it has been for the last 20 years. And I've been a part of that show since 2008, when the MCU started. And I've written for the show, and I've been a guest. And back when the Marvel movies were events, I would be the one to call in or be a guest on the show and give my expertise because they were, a lot of them were coming in new to this. And because I called in so much, and because Steve Morrison, also a huge comic book and Marvel fan, he said, well, why don't we do a podcast? All these, people are doing podcasts now. And I had been a guest on a lot of people's podcasts, and I've been like almost a professional guest talking about comic books or movies or wrestling or sports or whatever. So I never even thought about having my own podcast, but Steve asked me, and I said, sure. And so we've been doing Comic Book Gurus. We were doing it in the MMR studios from 2017 till when the world ended, up until when the world ended with the pandemic. And since then, we've been doing it on YouTube. I honestly think, Kevin, that the reason why Steve gave me a podcast is because he was tired of me always calling in to talk about, the Marvel movies that came out. But yeah, so we've been doing Comic Book Gurus on YouTube for the last 5 years, gone on 6 years now. So we were exclusive YouTube, and we have clips, and we talked about the last couple of years in comic book movies and TV shows. We had a great spirited debate about the Penguin when it was on HBO last year. That was one of our favorite comic book events of last year. And we talked about the Fantastic Four, whether, the fourth time is a charm. I was bitterly upset about Captain America Brave New World last year. I thought if it if it wasn't just a promotion for Red Hulk, it would have been a hell of a lot better film.
That movie
Yeah.
suffered from spoiling the Red Hulk, I think.
Oh, that's why I hated it. Not didn't hate the movie, but hate the way that it was marketed as it's the Red Hulk. Everyone, what makes Marvel movies so great is the things you don't see coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what made Civil War was when Scott Lang becomes Giant Man for the first time. And
Yes.
the whole movie everyone in the theater just goes absolutely nuts because you didn't see that coming. If we didn't know that Harrison Ford was going to turn into the Red Hulk, that would have been a movie moment that would have made everything, would have made the movie that much more spectacular. But because they were so interested in selling toys before Red Hulk action figures, before the movie even came out, you could have had the trailer talk about Isaiah Bradley, the character we met in Falcon and Winter Soldier, or any of the high-flying battle scenes, and left Harrison Ford completely out of the trailer. So when we all went to the theater and saw him become the Red Hulk, that would have been an amazing moment. But it was spoiled.
100% agree.
Thank you.
Yeah. That is, and I mean, that property, as far as like post Steve Rogers Captain America property,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like they've dropped the ball both in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Brave New World. Like, man, they were trying to tell a story in Falcon and the Winter Soldier that I thought was like, oh, we're going to talk about race. Like, Marvel's going to go there. But like they just tiptoed around it. And like, if you're going to tell the story, tell the story. Like, yeah. Like it was just a shame that like they weren't willing to pull the trigger. Whereas I do think that's something that DC does, like, I mean, I don't know about their movies, but like in the Arrowverse, I do feel like there was plenty of storylines that took on social issues and like treated it with respect. And I love the Arrowverse, the Berlantiverse, whatever you want to call it. Like those shows meant the world to me. Like I wasn't even a big Arrow fan when that first came out. Like I was not a fan of that first season until I got to the second season, and then I went back and rewatched. And once he introduced the Flash and it gets more comic booky, fell in love with that universe. I
thought Arrow was the DC version of Batman, the TV series. And while Marvel was killing it on the big screen, Arrow was killing it on the small screen. That was appointment television. And when it got spinoffs, when it got, the Flash, and then later Supergirl and the Justice Society, Heroes of Tomorrow, rather. I was really just such a good. It wasn't even. And again, it was people that loved Arrow that never picked up a comic book in their life. They just loved the story. They loved the action. They loved the characters. I got to do a panel with the guy with. Sorry, Arrow.
Stephen Amell.
Yeah. But those characters, when I get more sleep, I will come right back and we'll do this, and I'll tell you about all the characters from Arrow he was War Dog. He was the guy in the mask. Yes. He was in Captain. He was in Coach Carter, and he was in Reaper, and
I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but I got to do a panel with him and got to talk to him and most of the female stars are the woman who played Talia al Ghul in Arrow. To her, but those characters, I mean, and when they mention Gotham and when they mention other things, it drew us in. So the Arrow was important appointment TV, and it really set the groundwork for what James Gunn is doing now. If they had taken any of those characters and put them in a movie, that would have been great. I always thought that when I heard about a Flash movie, especially, and it was 8 years ago today when Ezra James showed up in the Flash TV series as Flash in the movie.
Yeah.
If Grant Gustin had been the Flash in the Flash movie, I thought it would have made big bank, because I don't know if you know this about comic book fans, we're very loyal. So if you put a guy on that we watch on TV every week, you put him in a movie, we'll go see it. We'll pay.
he had to be better known as the Flash.
Yes.
like he just, and he is Barry Allen to me. And,
Yeah.
and like nothing against oh god. Now I can't forget it. The original Flash.
John Wesley Shipp.
Yes, John Wesley Shipp. Nothing against him because I think he's a great actor. I think he's a great Jay Garrick.
Mhm.
But Grant Gustin is the reason I became a fan of the Arrowverse. I also think that show, I think it did a shared universe, I think, just as well as Marvel.
Oh, definitely.
If not better. It did the multiverse way better than any other property.
I got nervous when they were going to Crisis on Infinite Earths because that's going to be hard to pull off, but they did it surprisingly well, and it all worked, And the hardest thing to do is to get a large cast together, and you can do it in movies because you have an unlimited budget and you can do all this, but doing it for the TV series for the time that they had, that's an incredible achievement. And so every year in the crossover, that was again another appointment TV when Flash and Arrow and Supergirl would have their crossover episodes once a year. Epic TV.
And that first one they did with the Flash and Supergirl, when Supergirl was on CBS and it wasn't even on CW.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that felt, it obviously made sense. Both DC properties, both, CBS had their hands in the CW. So it wasn't like it was this like huge, like, oh my God, it's two networks doing it. Cause it was kind of incestuous to begin with, but
a little bit.
But still, like the fact that it was like, oh, like there's a national audience that's watching CBS that's not necessarily watching the Flash on the CW, that's going to be introduced to. So that was like such a cool moment to see that happen. I also like the musical episodes. That's another thing is I feel like they were able to do some like cool experimental stuff that you don't really get to see in the movies, or even like, I mean, Marvel did it early Disney Plus shows with like WandaVision and Loki. I thought like they're probably two of the best, I think, superhero TV shows, just because they're so different than what you come to expect from a comic book property. But I feel like the Arrowverse kind of did that experimental stuff, not to the degree that WandaVision did, but they did it first. They experimented with some things, and
it made it look good. I mean, they made Gorilla Grodd look like a gorilla. That was a great effect. And the villains, it wasn't a villain of the week kind of deal. They made it something special, and the relationship between Barry and the father,
Joe West.
Joe, yeah, sorry. Great. I'm gonna get all these names once I get a good night's sleep and come back. I'm gonna get all these names right. And Ricky Gonzalez, Wild Dog, yes.
Wow,
yes,
nice pull.
It was gonna. Yeah, I interviewed him. I did an Arrow panel with him back in Heroes and Villains, and he was great to talk to. But even he said how impressed he was with the amount of detail that they made a comic book series into a detective show, which is it's a fine line to walk, and they did it. I thought Arrow to me was Batman the TV series.
Yeah, I mean it really was to the point where like they develop Batman villains that weren't like the low key ones, and they brought them in or adapted them for Arrow.
Yeah, a little bit. I thought Gotham was really good until they lost the plot and they just started making Batman villains out of just anyone.
Right.
And like the chief of police, he had one of the criminals just went bad, and he becomes Solomon Grundy out of nowhere, and this other guy finds a mask, and now he's Bane, and it's like, but leading up to before all that, became the Rogues Gallery. I thought Gotham was a really well done show.
Yeah, like the first 2 or 3 seasons of Gotham, which was a Fox show, but that was done well. But I think Arrow was Arrow took it too. It was the Batman show that wasn't Batman.
Yes,
and like what a testament to Berlanti and the Arrowverse to basically have to come in after Smallville. One of the greatest
Yes.
superhero TV shows of all time.
Definitely.
And have to like basically say, all right, well, we just did this for like 10 years. Let's follow that up. And again, for me, I do feel like that first season on my initial watch, it was a rough watch for me personally.
Okay.
But I think it was because it was so serious. Like it felt almost like, and listen, I get people love those Christopher Nolan movies. I love The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises the Batman Begins movie is only good because of The Dark Knight. That's the only, The Dark Knight makes it better.
Right.
But the Christopher Nolan did like, hey, let's just do serious. Let's just do a serious movie, and he's in a bat costume. And I guess I just wasn't. I had enough of that. Like I was looking for the fun, colorful superhero stuff. Yeah. And Arrow never really gave you that, but it leaned into more fun. Once you introduced the Flash, like
that lightened bit. Yeah, it lightened Oliver up a little bit.
Yeah, and it also it made it so that not everything is like, what if this was in the real world? Now we have metahumans and we have people with superpower, and it just makes it more superhero. It made it more fun. But the Arrowverse, that the Berlanti verse was literally probably my favorite superhero stuff while it was on, even compared to Marvel, some Marvel stuff at the time. Like it was, and that's the, I don't feel like DC's just kind of getting back into TV, but great with Peacemaker. I mean, both seasons of Peacemaker were, I think, fantastic. John Cena is what a wonderful actor. Like what a surprise.
Coming.
And what I love about him and Batista, and this isn't necessarily putting The Rock down or anything, but what I love about them is that like Batista wants to be an actor, and like he's turning, like he'll turn down like typical like big muscle roles to be a character actor. John Cena will literally just make fun of himself and do the wackiest shit and have like be just a comedic actor. And do, I mean, and I don't know the vibe of Peacemaker from the comics. I never read the comics, but the Peacemaker vibe we get is such a crazy take on a character that's an anti-hero that's also like very vulgar and kind of dumb, and like the fact that he's it's a testament to John Cena that like he's able to make that character lovable and likable. And so I love it. I love so like DC I think is still doing well on TV. It's just it's sparsed out more, I guess.
Yeah, and it takes a while to find their footing, and you're operating on a very crowded field because Marvel has their foothold in streaming content on Disney, and now HBO is going to be kind of the DC's realm, and John Cena made Peacemaker what it is. And again, out of all the characters you saw on the Suicide Squad, and I just watched it again last night, John Cena's character was the one that got its own series because of John Cena, because this incredibly slow, impulsive, just a guy that's not a hero, but sees himself as that. I doesn't matter how many men, women, and children I have to kill to get peace. That's what I'll do. Incredible line. I just believe in peace, but with every fiber of my being. And only a character like John Cena can find the perfect world. Consider a world of his perfect, where he has his brother and his father is back, and everyone is great. And this is like the greatest. Like I'm in the best timeline, and only a guy like seems like you didn't notice the big swastika, and that everyone is white. That didn't. He goes, no, what
I was real worried about how they were going to pay that off with like, how are you going to make it so that like, because like we, the audience, are picking it up. How is he not? And like, I thought they did it in a, because a part of me was like, man, if he just kind of doesn't know and like it takes seeing his best friend getting chased by a bunch of white people, like for him to realize, like, I was gonna be a little upset about that. And the way they did it was like not only really funny, but also like, you know what? I buy it. He was just so blinded by the love of having a family. And man, I was so incredibly surprised at the reveal of that version of his father. That what like, yeah, he's actually a good person. And like, what a like the statement of I'm doing what I can. Like I maybe you can do whatever you can in your world. It's all sunshine and roses, but here I can only take on so much. And like, it was a very real moment in probably one of the silliest, most insane comic book shows that are out there. That like, yes, you would like to think that like, I mean, hell, maybe we're living it right now. Like, you know, you can only take a stand so much. Right. So maybe we do relate to that character, that version of the character a lot more than I thought I did 5 minutes ago.
For what I understand, Lanterns is going to take place in, you know, the pocket universes that we're seeing that we saw John Cena get banished into. That's where Lanterns takes from there. So we'll be exploring Peacemaker's pocket universe world in Lanterns.
Interesting.
Quite a bit. Yeah.
So excited for that. All right, before we wrap up here, because I know for those of you that haven't picked up the clues that Craig has put down, I made him stay up late tonight. So you know, obviously, so much to talk to you about. We could talk for I think hours here. But you know, where can people find you and all the stuff that you kind of work on? And then we'll go home from there. We'll all go to bed.
My jammies are on underneath this suit. You could follow me at Craig Liggeons all over social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and you can follow Comic Book Gurus on YouTube on our Comic Book Gurus page. Also, our Comic Book Gurus Facebook fan book page. We have 22,000 followers, 11,000 likes. So give us a like and subscribe on Comic Book Gurus podcast on our Facebook page, and give us a like and subscribe on our Comic Book Gurus YouTube page. We'll be talking about all the stuff I just talked about with Kevin, and we'll do it with videos, and we'll break down trailers. We'll try not to get we'll see movies and we'll talk about it, and we'll give you nothing but spoilers. So if you want to hear us talk about a movie that's already out but you don't want to know what happens, don't watch us. But if you've already seen it, come back and watch our review on it and tell us what you think. But yes, all over social media, you can find me and Comic Book Gurus wherever social media is posted.
And, you know, obviously I'm hoping that everything aligns to where I think it's late May into June is the next Fan Expo. This year, if you don't follow Fan Expo, the big thing is the 25th anniversary of Lord of the Rings. And they're going on tour. And they are stopping at the Phillies at Philadelphia Comic-Con as well. So obviously I'm planning something for that, planning some other things as well. And you know what? Craig is one of those guys that I have in my back pocket to be like, hey, buddy, you want to come do a panel? So I'm very excited to potentially sit down with you once again later this year to talk about something nerdy, I'm sure, in front of a room full of people. Dozens of people in the greatest city of the world at one of the greatest comic book conventions in the world, Fan Expo Philadelphia. Once again, Craig, thank you for doing this. I'm so happy that we got to sit down and do a proper podcast with each other.
Of course, Kevin, and you know I'm your utility guy. I'm your Freddie Stroma. I'm your vigilante. So you ask me, I'm right there. It doesn't matter what it is, what we're doing, what we're talking about. I'll be there. I'll always be there for you, Kev.
Thank you once again to Craig for coming on the show. What a joy to talk with. We've, as I said, worked together on Fan Expo Philadelphia panels for the last 2 years in 2024 and 2025. And I've wanted him on the show for a while, so we finally made it happen. Definitely want him back on again because we just kind of scratched the surface, I think, of what he does as a Philadelphia personality. But even just talking nerdy stuff, like I'm real hopeful. Like when we do special episodes where we sit down and talk about big releases, like we used to do roundtables on this show where we talked about Wonder Woman and Endgame and Infinity War and stuff like that. I'm hoping to bring those back. I'd love to sit down and have Craig be part of that. He's obviously very knowledgeable about the comic book medium and the comic book movie medium. He's passionate about it, which is important. And, Doomsday and Secret Wars, like this next closing chapter of the MCU or whatever you want to call it, seems like it's going to put a pin in a very pivotal part of Marvel movie history, as we discussed. And I'd love to have a panel of people that grew up with those movies because it means something to us than it does to maybe newer fans or younger fans. Anyway, thank you once again, Craig. Like I said, it was a pleasure talking with you. Hopefully we will be working together on a panel or two in the 2026 Fan Expo coming up at the end of May, I believe. Excited for that. That's months away, so we got some time to think about it. Coming up on Everything is Awesome, really, really briefly. Next week, Aaron Stegman. We're going to sit down. I've known Aaron for like over 10 years at this point. You may know her from Once Upon a Time, the rock opera, Shame of Thrones, the musical, a bunch of other things that she has worked on. She will be on the show next week. Then we hit the 10-year anniversary show. And we, as previously announced, we have Taylor Keller on that one. We have a couple, I think we might have enough guests booked through the end of February. We got Shannon Brown, Ami Khan. We have Casey Spivey. And I think we have a couple more booked for that will take us through the end of February. So really excited about that. And man, what a time to be alive as far as, podcasting is concerned, being creative is concerned. I'm feeling, it's one of the few places, that and family are the few places that I feel like I have total control and total happiness, right? Well, maybe not total happiness, but I have, mostly happiness. And I can kind of use it, this podcast to help mentally. Something that I've kind of learned. Medicine, I forget to take a pill every day. So this I've learned over the last, transitioning from that to being creative. This is something that is very important to me as we hit our 10-year anniversary. I mean, it's 10 years ago. 2016 is the year that we launched Everything is Awesome. It's the year that we did our first live podcast with Everything is Awesome at the Philadelphia Podcast Festival. It's the year that we did some big and cool projects with Once Upon a Line. There's a lot of things that happened in 2016 that marks the 10-year anniversary for this show, and among other things that I did creative, I did a show for unofficially for New York Comic Con in 2016. So a lot of cool things happened in 2016. And it's been a while since we've done some of that stuff. So it's going to be cool to like kind of go back and relook at all those things and creatively like recreate those things in a way by bringing things back in some fashion. Regardless, this is one of the last outros I'll be recording, after we record an interview. So it's kind of bittersweet that we're going to be, sitting here in this capacity. I think we're still going to do mid rolls. So I'll still be jumping in as I guess compared to the Kev that's talking to the guest, future Kev, present Kev, whatever you want to call him. He'll still be jumping in to check in with the audience and maybe update some plugs or Just, general updates that are important, throw them out there. Maybe if there's some sponsors, not saying that we have them, just saying garage beer, or maybe a local beer distributor that has garage beer, pretty cheap to buy a case of beer a week. I'm just saying, garage beer is only 20 minutes. Just, I know a couple people out there that listen that may or may not be tied to beer distributors. Just saying, you get sponsored the show for as cheap as honestly, a case of beer every 2 weeks. I don't drink that often anymore. Hey, but you know what? That's for future Kev to worry about, right? Speaking of that guy, future Kev needs to worry about that. He needs to worry about bringing sponsors on. So February looks like a great month for Everything Is Awesome. We're approaching the spring. We're approaching some other things that I will hopefully have announcements on. Probably not in the near future, but there's some things that I have cooking for the summer that I will probably be announcing in closer to Fan Expo, and as we get closer to Fan Expo, probably like in March or April, we'll be talking about that a little bit more. Though I say that, they usually let me know 2 weeks before the show, so it might be in May that you find out about what we're doing at Fan. Regardless, we got some cool things cooking. I'm working with other podcasters to do some stuff, so a lot of things are cooking, and I'm really excited about it. So I've kept you here long enough. You were here for Craig. You stuck around. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you're watching the video, make sure you subscribe to YouTube and like and leave a comment. That all helps. If you're listening on your podcast platform of choice, make sure you hit subscribe, follow, whatever the terminology is for your app. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. When I notice them, I'll read them on air. They make me smile. So please, please, please do that. And make sure you follow the best place to follow. The show is on social media, either at Real Awesome Pod or at Awesome Podcast, depending on, you'll see the logo. You'll know it's us. But the best place, honestly, the best place that you can get a hold of me and talk to me or whatever, if you have a question, if you want to be on the show, the best place to do that is at That Nerdy Kev. If I'm available anywhere publicly on the internet, on social media, it's there, at That Nerdy Kev. Follow me there, and let's chat, But for Everything Is Awesome, I'm Kev, and you've been listening right here only on awesomepodcast.com.